This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Mikey Garcia here in Texas. Mikey, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Just getting in, pretty excited for Saturday night. So, I think it's a great matchup, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Now, I know I've literally just pulled you as you've just arrived at the hotel, so I appreciate you doing this quick interview with me. Let's start off with this before we do come on to yourself. Canelo-Alvarez, Billy Joe Saunders. Break it down for me, Mikey. What do you expect from this fight?
Well, I think it's a very good matchup, actually. We've always said, styles make fights, and I don't think that's going to be any different. Billy Joe Saunders, he's a very good boxer, good southpaw. He moves, counterpunch, good defense, good reflexes. All the things that I think will make for a very good fight. Being that Canelo, is the aggressor, typically the aggressor. A lot of head movement, trying to get on the inside. But Billy Joe is the one that can box too. So I think that's what's intriguing. Can Billy Joe Saunders keep this 12 rounds? Can he box effectively for 12 rounds, or will Canelo's power and pressure start to take over? So I think that's why it's such a good matchup.
There's been a lot of talk in the build-up to this from Billy Joe and his team, certainly the last few days, about the ring. What have been your thoughts about the comments about the ring and the size of it?
I've only heard a little bit about it. I don't know the full details. I heard that Saunders had agreed to a 24-foot ring, and he said he would get in the ring if it was a 22-foot ring. Like I said, I don't know the full details. I could imagine that he's requested that, or he had already requested that, prior to signing an agreement to the fight, because he plans on boxing. He plans on boxing, which is what he needs to do on Saturday night.
He plans on boxing, as you say there, but one thing which has been spoken about is the judging. We know Billy Joe and the skill set he provides, a slick southpaw style. Should he be concerned if it goes to the cards, and if he was to have looked like in everybody's eyes to have been victorious? It obviously comes down to the judges. Should he be concerned going to the cards?
I don't think any fighter should be concerned letting the fight go to the cards, to the judges, if you win convincingly. If it goes 12 rounds, but if he's won the majority of the rounds, convincingly, then there shouldn't be a doubt, who the winner is. But if the rounds are close and, the judges prefer maybe a guy who's coming forward, looking for the fight, over somebody that's being the defensive boxer, that's where the judges could have different point of view. That's the only thing that a fighter would have to know. What kind of judges, what the judges are looking for on fight night. But if you're winning convincingly, if you're counterpunching, if you're boxing effectively, then the judges shouldn't bother you that much.
You've just arrived yourself. You're a superstar. Tyson Fury's just arrived himself. He's a superstar. I know you won't be getting involved in it, but as the week progresses, we know Ben Davidson's coming, Josh Taylor, what have you. What are you expecting as we edge ever closer to fight night?
It's going to be all the stars, all the fighters going to be here. I mean, it's such a huge fight. It's the biggest fight, so far in this last year, because of the whole last year with the whole pandemic and everything. It's pretty shut down. There's really no major events all of last year, and this is the biggest one so far. And I don't know if there's going to be anything as big. If Joshua and Fury get it on, then that'll be, a mega fight also. But, it hasn't been, there. It hasn't happened. So this is it. So I expect all the fighters to be here, man.
Mikey, seeing 70,000 fans in a stadium on Saturday night, how good will that feel?
Dude, I mean, just to be back, in a fight scenario and being able to see fans live, that really motivates a fighter. I didn't like the idea of fighting without fans. I think the fighters get motivated and inspired by their fans. So I think just having 70,000, that's insane. That's crazy. When I fought here, we had I think like 49,000 people in attendance. And that was amazing. I can just imagine 70. That's record-breaking type of number. So, I mean, I think the energy is gonna be terrific on Saturday night.
Just as we mentioned him before, we do come on to yourself. Tyson Fury is here. A lot of talk about between him and Anthony Joshua. What would be your thoughts if we do get that over the line, the pair of them square off at some point this year? What are your thoughts?
Oh wow! I mean, I want to see the fight. As a fan, I want to see it, just like every other fan wants to see that. Get an undisputed heavyweight champion, the best fighting the best, and having only one champion, would be ideal. I hope that fight happens. I think it would be a terrific matchup. When Wilder fought Fury surprised me a lot. He impressed me a lot. So that makes me believe that Fury might have the edge over Anthony Joshua. But we cannot, take anything away from Anthony Joshua. He's a terrific fighter. He's experienced, very skilled, probably the more polished, the fighter who does things maybe the more correct way, But that, he's also vulnerable at times. He's been hurt, he's been dropped, where Fury can take advantage of that. Fury's a big dude, strong dude. Like I said, he really impressed me and surprised me when he fought Wilder. So, I mean, it's almost a toss-up fight at that point.
Mikey, moving on to yourself now, there was a lot of talk about between yourself and Manny Pacquiao. On off points, he seemed to be, but just update us. Where did things kind of land with it now?
Well, nothing yet, nothing concrete. We've been having the conversation with Team Pacquiao for several months now, like 2 months. Hasn't happened. We haven't been able to secure that fight. We hope we do. We're still in the conversation. We're still basically in the race because he's had a few other names, brought up, and they haven't been able to get those fights done either. So, we're still there. I mean, when it comes down to the very, very end, it's all about the money at the end. There's money that needs to be secured for Manny and myself, and that's where the problem is right now because, it's not maybe the best time, for a big fight that's of that size, for a large guarantee like that. It's difficult to get. Canelo's able to do it. He's got a big following with his fans and DAZN, and they structured a deal that works for him. We need to try to find a structured deal that works for Manny and myself, which, like I said, it's not the easiest. But fingers crossed, maybe we still get that.
Are you starting to consider other opponents now, just kind of in the background in case the Manny Pacquiao fight doesn't come off?
I mean, I've always been open to other opponents. I can never sit around and just wait for one opponent. But if I'm still in the conversation, then I'm gonna wait and see how that irons out. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, if there's no way that the fight with Pacquiao would happen, then at that point I'll definitely move on to someone else.
Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez, a campmate of yours, getting ever closer now. You're only a couple of weeks away. How is he doing? How's Jose?
Yeah, we're only about 2 weeks away. He's had a great training camp. He's looked very, very sharp, very strong in training. I actually sparred with him earlier in training camp a little bit just to help him fill in some rounds. Then he's got his sparring partners that are great sparring partners, and I mean he's doing very well. I expect a very good fight. We know Josh Taylor is going to come with everything he has also. He's a terrific fighter. Another southpaw, slick southpaw who can box and do everything well. He can also trade. He likes to stand and trade. So I expect a tough fight. I like the way Josh fights. But I also see Jose Ramirez very strong, not just because he's on my team, not just because he's a friend of mine, but just sparring with him, I feel his strength. He's very strong. That pressure, that relentless pressure, aggression like that is something to really look for, and I think that's what's going to help him on the 22nd.
I did about an hour and a half long interview with Robert about a month and a half ago, just in depth on his entire life and career in boxing, and he spoke to me about how originally, with regards to yourself, the team itself wasn't necessarily happy with you moving up to 147. They see your career being back down at 140. If Jose was unsuccessful against Josh, would you entertain that fight, Josh Taylor, undisputed champion, versus yourself back at 140?
I would. The reason why I'm not at 140 right now is because, you got Jose and Josh holding the titles at 140. Therefore, there's no opportunity for me to get a title there right now. So I've stayed at 147, or at least I'm trying to still get a fight at 47. However, if the title becomes available at 40, or maybe they decide to move up in weight class, and the titles are vacant, or if Josh Taylor were to somehow win the fight and is open to, you know, maybe getting a fight with me, then definitely entertain something like that. It's not what I've been, like, you know, hoping for. It's not something that I'm holding my breath for. But I'm obviously always entertaining an offer at 140 for the right kind of fight. But in the meantime, right now, you know, at this moment, you know, 147 seems like it's a better fight for me.
Mikey, we'll leave that there now. I'll leave you to get back to the rest of your friends and what have you. Enjoy this week. If I don't speak to you again soon, thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Appreciate it. Thank you.